Michelle Obama is really struggling. Have you seen this, guys, with these divorce rumors? I mean, one after another, after another, after another. Jennifer Aniston is alleged to be the former president's big flame. It became such an issue that apparently she had to go on the Jimmy Kimmel show and say, no, it couldn't possibly be true, because I think Us Weekly or In Touch or one of these things did a whole spread, the supermarket tabloid, all about Jennifer Aniston and Barack Obama. So obviously these questions have surfaced because Michelle Obama has been MIA at some rather key events. There was the inauguration, right, of the presidency, the president of the United States. That was kind of a big one to miss. Maybe she doesn't like him for political reasons. Toughen up, you got to do it anyway. But I would say the one that really surprised me was Jimmy Carter's funeral. She just didn't go. And you know what the excuse was? That she was on vacation, a prolonged vacation. You're first lady for 8 years, and you don't have the decency to show up at a former, he's like the Jesus Christ superstar of the Democrat Party, Jimmy Carter, for goodness sakes. You don't have the decency to go to his funeral when he helped lead that whole movement. Remember, not my president, not my president. That was Jimmy Carter. Forgive me. That may have been Maxine Waters. Jimmy Carter was the one who said he's not legit. Jimmy Carter's the one who went on and said that he was put in place by the Russians. And then that whole thing got picked up. Oh, remember that one? Oh, that was good. You didn't have the decency to go to his funeral after he did you guys this huge favor and started a whole big story.
Russia has been proven by our intelligence community to have interfered with one of our human rights, which is the right of free and fair elections. Yeah. What's your reaction? How should we deal with Russia?
Well, the president himself should condemn it, admit that it happened, which I think 16 of the intelligence agencies have already agreed to say. And there's no doubt that the Russians did interfere in the election. And I think the interference, although not yet quantified, if fully investigated, would show that Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered.
Oops. Sorry, I cut out too early. We do actually have to hear the very end of that soundbite because it's rather important. I'll fast forward to it.
Trump didn't actually win the election in 2016. He lost the election, and he was put into office because the Russians interfered on his behalf.
So do you believe President Trump is an illegitimate president?
Based on what I just said, which I can't retract. I'll tell you.
Okay, so that became the headline. Remember, everywhere, it was blasted everywhere. Jimmy Carter says that Donald Trump is an illegitimate president who was put there by the Russians. So he did you guys kind of a big favor, don't you think, on that one? Lying through his teeth? And you can't even go to his funeral. And you don't think that we're not going to think that is because you were divorcing your husband? I mean, my first concern was, wow, she's sick. I'm a pretty empathetic person. Politics aside, human beings are human beings, and I actually was quite worried for her. I thought, well, there's no reason she wouldn't actually go to Jimmy Carter's funeral unless she's sick or unless she's getting a divorce from her husband. And by the way, even if you're getting a divorce from your husband, you were part of this movement for your entire adult life. You still needed to be there, Michelle. Not a very well-raised woman, if you ask me. No sense of responsibility, no sense of duty. She's in it for herself, as she made very clear on her podcast this week. We talked a little bit about it yesterday. Today, I'm taking it forward because this confirms to me, you know what? This is trouble in paradise. This is trouble in the Barack Michelle Obama household. She has found herself. And so she no longer wants to be associated with him or anything political, or, she's off doing a podcast, woohoo, doesn't get any viewers, but she's got her little moment in the sun. It's all about her. Is this some kind of midlife crisis? I think so. When you hear this soundbite, I have a feeling you will agree. Somehow she's the victim in all this. Yeah, right.
Keep pushing and keep striving. And so practicing no in a very different way intentionally. But then this is what makes it hard because, my decision to skip the inauguration, what people don't realize, or my decision to make choices at the beginning of this year that suited me were met with such ridicule and criticism. Like people couldn't believe that I was saying no for any other reason, that they had to assume that my marriage was falling apart.
Right.
Yeah, because a normal person who had been first lady for 8 years would go to the inauguration. It's not even getting into the Carter stuff. Yeah, we all assume your marriage is falling apart. And you know what? It probably should, because you sound like one selfish, you know what I was going to say. And it rhymes with which.
It's like, while I'm here really trying to own my life and intentionally practice making the choice that was right for me, and it took everything in my power to not do the thing that was right, or that was perceived as right, but do the thing that was right.
Wow, they love to twist things, right? Perceived as right, the thing that was right, or perceived as right, because maybe it really wasn't right. It's like, maybe you're not really a boy, or you're really a girl. Maybe truth is just made up fiction.
For me, that was a hard thing for me to do. I had to basically trick myself out of it. And it started with not having anything to wear. I mean, I had affirmatively, because I'm always prepared for any funeral, anything. I walk around with the right dress. I travel with clothes just in case something pops off. So I was like, if I'm not going to do this thing, I got to tell my team, I don't even want to have a dress ready.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so easy to just say, let me do the right thing.
But then you become a shock absorber.
Yeah.
And that's what women are.
Yeah.
Shock absorbers.
Yeah.
And that's exhausting. And it's not healthy.
Yeah.
It is not healthy. You've had to be shock absorbers for your husband, for your children, for your mom, for your family, your loved ones, because of where you were sitting in the public eye. That's not fair to you. When do you ever get to live for you? I applaud you. I'm happy that you are taking care of yourself in the way that you need to.
Yeah.
Is that like the precursor to divorce? She's going to take care of herself as she needs to because she's been living for this man her whole life. She's been living for the country her whole life. She needs to move on and now do what's right for Michelle. No sense of responsibility, no sense of duty, no sense of anything. We've known that for a long time about her. I remember when he was running, second time around, they had to put her in the shadows. You know why? Nobody liked her. Nobody could stand her. She always said the wrong thing, and she looked awful, and she looked pained to be there whenever she was anywhere. So the word was, don't let Michelle do interviews. Don't let Michelle appear on stage with him. Keep Michelle in the background. Guess what? Michelle is not an asset. Now she's like, I'm my own woman. I'm going to go out there and do podcasts. I'm going to say, Black women, we are so oppressed. We have to do the right thing all the time. Show up at an inauguration. Show up at a former president's funeral. Guess what? I'm coming out on my own, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not going to do the right thing any of the time. I'm just going to do whatever the hell I want because I'm Michelle Obama and I can. Lovely woman, I hope for his sake the Jennifer Aniston rumors are true. I really do. Nothing to wear. Give me a break. She kind of rigged it that way.